Hello, students. Welcome to participate in the basic course of diagnosis and identification of plant pests and diseases. The prevention and control of plant diseases and pests is based on correct diagnosis. How do you identify insects that harm plants? In this lesson, we will introduce some methods to help you learn more about insects. We often say that the beginning of the appearance level, in fact, to recognize insects, we must first look at the appearance, that is, the external morphological characteristics, which is an important basis for understanding insects, including external organs such as wings/antennae, body wall derivatives such as hairs/bulges. There are also markings of different colors and shapes. There are many kinds of insects, and their forms are also varied. How do we know who they really are? There are 33 orders of insects, such as Lepidoptera, Hymenoptera, etc. It can be seen that the type of wings is an important basis for classification, that is, the identification of adult stage. Let's identify these two adults. The first step is to look at the wings. These are the elytra of the beetle. The second step is to look for other areas that are special. Look at this one with the nose-like, is commonly known as the weevils of the weevil. The other antenna is a bright spot, whiplash, coupled with a face like a cow's head. Must be able to guess what is the worm. It is the famous wood-boring longhorn beetles. These are 3 longhorn beetles. Do you see their common temperament? Yeah, whiplash antennae. If based on the markings, color, etc., we can determine that they are citrus longhorn beetle, the white-striped longhorn beetle, and the peach longhorn beetle. These insect names reflect some remarkable morphological characteristics. And where to find a breakthrough for uncommon species? Look at this longhorn beetle. At the humeral angle of the elytra has an eye-catching feature of eye spot. Follow this clue to find eye spot longhorn beetle. There is a species called eye spot longhorn beetle. And then check the graphic data to confirm. In addition to the eye-spotted longhorn beetle, other insects have been named after markings, such as the spotted mantis, the wide-winged cicada, and the cat's eye butterfly, which has markings on its wings that resemble the eyes of an owl. You're probably familiar with this green scarab. The 2 on the right that are similar in size to it are also chafers, and there is an important knowledge point here. The antennae of the adult chafer are gill-shaped. Then, the following 3 beetles with very different shapes from the above are still branchiate-like antennae, so they are also chafers. And then according to the head and the front pectoral backplane with rhinoceros horn-like protruding, and can be further refined to rhinoceros beetle class. Therefore, external organs, markings, body wall derivatives are important identification basis. In addition to observing the same features, be good at looking for differences. Are these both butterflies? Their appearance and markings are very similar, but in fact, this is a papilio butterfly, the other is a moth. The difference is that the end of the antenna of the butterfly gradually expands into a ball, and the end of the antenna of the moth generally becomes thin and linear. This moth is also called a phoenix moth because it resembles a papilio butterfly. The most common bee, with its geniculate antennae, powder-carrying feet, and 2 pairs of wings. The 2 on the right are like bees, but their antennae are awned, and they have only 1 pair of wings, which is characteristic of flies. Another knowledge is that flies that look like bees are generally hoverflies and fruit flies. In addition to external morphology, biological characteristics of insects, such as habits and harmful characteristics, can also be used for identification. The symptoms such as gall and pod made by different insects are generally different, and combined with the host plant, it is easy to identify which kinds of insects are cause the damage. For example, when you see this nest of dead leaves on the camphor tree and Japanese cinnamon tree, it is caused by the larvae of the Orthiga achatina moth. These white, transparent streaks of rice leaves are the work of the larva of the rice leaf roller. The dumpling leaves and brown spots of Ficus microphylla are the victims of thrips, which suck in the sap after grinding the mesophyll on the leaf surface, resulting in unperforated necrotic spots, which weaken the growth of the leaf surface and fold the leaf in half. The clumps of white spittle hanging from these branches are inhabited by nymphs of the Cercopidae, and these larvae with a very distinctive way of feeding. Their abdomen is mostly tilted to one side or up, only the breast foot and part of the abdominal foot to grasp the edge of the leaf to eat. This is the posture of the larvae of the Tenthridae family, and will pretend to be dead. If you count the abdominal foot, there are 6 to 8 pairs. You can be more sure that it is the Tenthridae. Because the most important feature of the larvae of the Tenthridae family is that they have more than 5 pairs of prolegs, more than the butterfly moth. 2 aspects of insect morphology and biology are used here. The above identification methods, taking adult insects as an example, can be summarized as follows. The first step is to look at the wings and determine the order. The second step, if you want to recognize the family or species, is combined with other characteristics such as antennae, markings, behavior, etc., and also needs to understand the type of host plant and the symptoms of damage. If you cannot confirm, the third step is to refer to professional literature and check the characteristics. These methods can also be used to identify other insect states. In this lesson, we have introduced some methods of identifying insects, hoping to enlighten the following basic knowledge and classification learning. We not only need to have a solid theoretical knowledge, good at observation, finding features, good at querying information, and using basic knowledge to analyze problems, but also have a wealth of identification experience.